kindergartners. So today in writing, we are going to be working on with our Z verse. So it's crazy that we've made it to the last Bible verse of this year. So good job at memorizing them and doing the actions and staying up with it. So today we're going to be working on the Z verse, and it says, Zion heard and was glad. Now I know Mrs. Johnson talked a little bit about this when she was teaching the verse. She talked a little bit about how Zion means the city of God, and when we are children of God and we trust in God, that we are now family members of God, right? And when we're adopted in His family, that we become His family, right? We're all children of God, and that Zion, when he hears the word of God, that Zion is the city of God. So everyone up there in the city is super excited when we become Christians, and just very excited, and just rejoices, right? So when we become family members of God, that should bring us glad. And now, how do we do that? So I actually want you to pause my video and go and watch a Douglas talk. And he talks about, in this Douglas talk, he talks about how the church is the people. So I want you to pause me down below and come back to me, okay? All right, well, welcome back after you watched Douglas talk. And that was a really, really good one about how Douglas was talking about how at church, we don't have to be at church to be His people, right? We don't have to be in the square building, because right now it's awesome, but right now we can't be in the square building. So how can we be His church, right? And I feel like that talks about the same thing about Zion heard and was glad. And if Zion is the city of God, and that means there's so many churches in that city, right? There's so many exciting people and so many people that believe in God in that city. And so I think it's so important that when we talk about the city of God, we're talking about us as believers as being His children of God. So today in writing, it's going to be a little different, a little bit more free for you to write, but I want you to choose a time when you heard about someone else and you were glad, or you were happy. So for example, if I was writing this, I would think of a time that, let's see, maybe my mom or dad, or maybe my brother or sister. I'm going to use my brother as an example, and I'm going to say that a time that he did something for God, and I was so glad. It made me so happy to see that, right? So when we were really little, we used to pray before we went to bed. And when I would see my brother pray, that would make me so glad, because I'm a child of God, and that just makes Him so glad. So I'm so glad, right? And I'm so happy. And so boys and girls, I want you to think of a time that you've been glad or happy by watching someone do something for God. That could be praying. That could be reading the Bible. I remember when I would come downstairs and see my mom reading her Bible, that always made me so glad that she was talking to God, right? Or maybe a time that you watched someone worship, or maybe a time that you were worshiping with someone. So what is a time that I want you to write? What is a time that we can be Zion, the city of God, and we watched those people, and that brought us glad. And that brought us to be super duper happy inside of us, right? So write about a time using your punctuation, your spacing, your capital letters, and your detail, okay? And writing about a time that you've watched someone expand or make their, let's say, their faith just grew a little bit more when you were watching them, right? Think about a time, and I want you to write about it, okay? And boys and girls, if that's a challenge and you can't think about it, I want you to write about why does it make you so glad to be a family member of God. So you can two things. You can write about a time that you've seen someone and it made you super glad, or you can write about a time of how it makes you feel being a family member of God's family, the Zion, okay? All right, I want you to have fun. I want you to enjoy it. And boys and girls, what helps me when I'm writing, I listen to worship music. So if you want to, go for it today. It's a super great time to connect with God and do your schoolwork. But unless mom and dad don't want you to, don't do it. But it's just such a great time. So I want you to enjoy writing about your Z verse, and go get it, boys and girls. See you later.